As your popularity continues to grow, have you noticed any less pressure from your label Metropolis in the area of creative freedom?
Yeah, there's never really been any kind of pressure from Metropolis or Out of Line in Europe really either. Like I have a really good relationship with both labels, and I'm glad to be separated and have my own thing in Europe and my own thing over here because they're all kind of different. And some people have gone through a lot of shit, dealing with the licensing shit to other places and do. But yeah, they never really seem to have said anything to us one way or the other. They're pretty open-minded and deal with whatever we do, which is good.
It's good to hear. Well, we've kind of been talking about this, but how careful are you in not venturing too far away from the God mod sound that people have come to expect?
Well, that's a funny question. Because a lot of people hated Let's Go Dark. Like, well, it's like, it's a weird situation how that happens, First of all, I'll never ever say that everything's going to always sound like Viscera. I mean, I love Viscera and I love, Victim Among Friends, and that's all cool. But at the same time, if I sat down to write a CD and that shit doesn't come out, there's nothing I can do about it. It's just, I don't sit down and say, okay, now I'm going to write a hard song, or now I'm going to write this synth poppy song that'll sound cool with Courtney singing on it. It's just, I'm just going to write a fucking song, and if it sounds cool, it sounds cool. But the thing with that whole Let's Go Dark situation was it was supposed to be a side project to start off with. It was just songs about horror movies that I liked, and more like a horror punk electronic CD, I guess you could say, is what I wanted to go with. But then it ended up sounding so much like God Module that I was like, I'll just go ahead and take a chance and see how this goes, Right. And I think it worked really well because we got a lot of new fans because of songs like Spooky. But then, of course, there's a lot of people who take everything way too fucking serious, and they're like, this is... Yeah, completely. And they thought that was it from now on, Like, we were reading all these threads on different things about how we sold out and did all this shit, and I mean, I don't even think that's possible in our scene to sell out. I don't know what that means exactly. Right. But yeah, I mean, it's just like, just because my favorite movie is Texas Chainsaw Massacre doesn't mean I don't watch fucking Scooby-Doo cartoons too, Mm-hmm. So it's like, That's all it was.
Don't take yourself too seriously.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I mean, if I did, I don't know what I would be doing, but I wouldn't be doing what I do now, because I couldn't stand it. I can't stand the people in the scene who do that. And that's not being mean, that's just being honest. So, yeah, it's like, I don't worry too much about it. I feel like God Module for me is really cathartic. I use the same way, I guess, anybody else who does any kind of art, tries to get shit that's inside of them out. And sometimes mine comes out a little darker and a little more fucked up than, somebody who's drawing little pictures of horses or something. But it's still the same deal, It's still just getting my creative shit out of me. And so I think I have a lot more of that shit inside of me to get out. So everything should be fine, yeah.
Good. Well, in my review, I kind of, alluded to the fact that after Let's Go Dark came out, a lot of people kind of got butthurt and they didn't like that or whatever. But I think everybody would enjoy this CD, Seance, if they actually listen to it, Do you get to decide who does remixes for you? I'm sure a group like White Ring remixing you wouldn't be a label's first choice. And is there anyone that you wanted to remix Rituals that didn't?
There was, yeah, and one of them I actually came close to having do it, and I can't say the name of the band now because I'll be kind of negative now after I talk about it, so I don't want to say, but I didn't want any real industrial people to remix it. I hate remixes to start off with, I'll say that too. I just can't stand it. I hate the idea of it. A lot of times we have to do it for filler, I guess, because a lot of and it is really comes down to be that. Some tracks end up taking a track that's not dance floor accessible and turning into a really awesome dance floor track, and that's when it works, I think, or vice versa, like the White Ring remix. I think
I loved it.
Yeah, it's a totally different deal. And I don't love, like, I'm not the giant crazy witch house fan or anything. I got into it mainly because I liked the imagery, and I started noticing that a lot of their esoteric symbolism and stuff kind of mixed with some of the imagery I use with God Module. So I was kind of interested into it, and then looked into it a little more, and then I was like, well, I'm just going to contact this guy and see what he'll say. And then the strange thing is he's this huge industrial fan. So he was like, yeah, I'll do it, and I want you to remix one of mine sometime. I was like, yeah, that's awesome too. So that was kind of cool, because then it kind of fit the idea of the fact of getting somebody outside, because it's like, But yeah, the whole deal is, you know, it just doesn't make sense when it's the exact same band kind of changing a couple sounds. And there have been some remixes we've done that were really important to me. Like when we played, I think it was Kinetic, one of the festivals in the last like 5 years, like Peter Spiels from Project Pitchfork came up to me, and I don't love Project Pitchfork right now as much as I used to, but I grew up a huge fan. And, you know, after the show, he came up and he's like, you know, I liked your show and blah, blah, blah. And we started talking, and then he asked me to do a remix. So I asked him to do a remix, and then it might not be my favorite remix ever, but it's awesome to have somebody who was that influential on my stuff actually taking it and doing something now and asking me to do something to his. So that was a really big deal. And when we remixed other bands in the past, like Hosiko, I thought that was a really cool time for me. And
Love that band.
yeah, me too. So I think it can be good, but overall, you know, I'd rather never do remixes again. Yeah.
You make a lot of use of movie samples in your songs. Are there times when a song is built around a single clip, or do you just find clips that fit in with your song?
It goes both ways, I think. Sometimes I'll hear things that I think would just sound awesome in a song. They never really have as much to do. It's more of the feeling of the music than they always fit with the lyrics. I think a lot of people are like, oh, we're just throwing them in then for no reason, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, it's like, I always write the music before I write the lyrics. So I'm feeling a completely certain thing when I'm making the music and hearing the music. And then if something fits with it, that's awesome. If it ends up fitting with the vocals later, that's even better. But at the same time, yeah, it's just, it ends up being, both sides are pretty important. Yeah, I mean, and a lot of there's a few songs like on Let's Go Dark where the vocals, the samples are like tied directly into the song. Like Your True Face is a song about the movie Nightbreed in the book Midian. So it's got Nightbreed samples on it. Stuff like that. And Halloween for Orange and Black, stuff like that. That kind of fits in. But then like stuff like Doppelganger on the new album has samples from Happy Birthday to Me. And that just happened to be because it was my birthday and I was watching Happy Birthday to Me when I was writing that song. So so that doesn't really have any like deep thing, but I'm sure somebody will think it does. And yeah, for sure, yeah.
Well, I think a lot of times it's cool for the fans just to figure out what it means to them, and
exactly, yeah. And that's what and sometimes it even changes for me too. So that's the cool part about it all being subjective, I think. Yeah.
At this point in the tour, it looks like you don't have many days off, at least until you get to Florida. Do you prefer it this way, or would you like to have more time to be able to get out and see the cities?
Well, when we're touring by ourselves, I'd rather have more time off, because then usually we don't have a driver and we don't have more of a structured situation. So like, because I really love like stopping by every fucking weird cheesy roadside attraction we can see, you know, giant ball of yarn and bullshit like that, because that just makes it more fun, like crazy road trip time rather than just work. But with this kind of a situation, I think after you get into the groove of playing every night, I'd much rather go night after night, because I think even taking a day off, it's like it just becomes boring. You know, you're ready, because it's such a adrenaline rush being on stage, you know. So it's like you start wanting it more, which always sucks too when it's over and then you go home and have to pretend to be normal again. That sucks too. Yeah, but I think it'd be cooler to do it every night.